There's such great benefit to being naive. People look at it as a weakness, but I think it's a huge strength. I know it was for me as well, because when we don't know all of the risks sometimes and we go in naive, ignorance can be bliss.
Ignorance is bliss, right? You know what? What I love about not knowing how it's supposed to be done is you don't do anything traditionally. You just you go by gut feel. You go by, well, this makes sense. It's common sense. I'll do this, and so you're not put in a box of like, well, I probably shouldn't cold call these people because they're really important and they're really
Hmm.
expensive, and
You didn't have any fear.
I'm not ready to talk to them. I just didn't know any better. It
Right.
just was common sense for me to do. Mind you, I got turned down by some folks. But for me, I was like, I'm just going to keep calling until someone listens to me. Someone gives me a chance. Someone gives me whatever. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't
Right.
have any fear. And I didn't know that's not how you do things. So I think not knowing how you're supposed to do things is also a gift because
Absolutely.
you do things maybe in a more innovative, out of the box way. You it puts you in a great position that you might not have been if you censored yourself.
Sure. So what was life like when you first opened the first shop?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was scary, right?
And
It
where
was.
was this, by the way? Where was the
So
first
we
location?
opened our first shop 2011, April 1st, by the way, which April
Okay.
Fool's Day,
April
which
Fool's Day.
is it's actually intentional because I kind of have a little sense of humor about what I'm doing because the reason we were so close, I'm like, I'm going to open on April Fool's Day only because it's kind of comical. Like I don't
Right.
have restaurant experience. I'm going to go do this. And so anyway, so we opened April Fool's Day, 2011, and um the we immediately had lines out the door. I
Oh
mean,
my goodness, that's
yeah,
amazing. And where was this
this
exactly?
is Pacific Heights, San Francisco, Pacific Heights neighborhood on Fillmore Street. Kind of very iconic, known main street. But mind you, before we opened, when we were working on construction in the store, we had our we had our windows covered and I was in the shop working and I could hear people like walk by and they saw our sign and they're like, Bun Mee? What is this?
Mhm.
And so I was like, holy cow. Like, I'm in like Pacific Heights, primarily white neighborhood, very affluent, not a lot of Vietnamese. And I'm taking a big risk. I'm taking a gamble or they don't even know what a bun mee is. Like I'm really putting myself out there. This is prime real estate, putting myself out there. And so I was like, am I in the right place? Like, this is so scary. So for me, opening was just just that feeling of just being scared and like, how is this going to go? Lines out the door the first day. It was insane. We beat all our projections. We ran out of bread midday. We kept having, and at the time I was just such a tr purist. And I was like, I need to get bread from San Jose in the bakery from this baker. And so I would drive an hour to San Jose, get bread and drive
Oh,
back. We would put up a sign that said, we're closing for an hour and a half.
well, I'd go get bread. You're such a founder. That's such a founder thing to do, by the way.
We'll be back. We'll be back. We're closing. We'll be back. And so we were doing like a few days. We had this small walk-in. We couldn't fit food in the walk-in. Like it was just kind of such an unexpected surprise. And so it
Right.
was a lot of hustle, a lot of grit, a lot of trying to figure things out on the fly. It's just a whirlwind, of just and a huge learning curve because I'm not used to this. I came from law where I had an assistant, get me coffee. Like I would, so I'm not used to like, running around, being in the kitchen, getting dirty, smelling like fries,
Right.
but I just rolled up my sleeves and I was just going to do whatever it took. And
Mhm.
so those first days, first weeks, first months was a huge learning curve, long hours, long days, staying late shifts, just working morning to night and just learning as much as I could, making sure that I was on top of things. It was wild. It was wild.
Yeah. Well, when you love what you do, the hours don't even matter. Like you don't even count the hours, right? You just do.
Exactly.
Was there a pivotal moment, and maybe it might not even been the line out the door, but was there a moment in time when you were like, I'm really onto something here?
Yeah, I think, I knew I was onto something probably. I mean, our first year, we did 1.5 million in sales our
Wow.
first year in
That's
in like
incredible.
under 1,000 square foot, right?
Okay.
I mean, like just huge. Didn't expect it. Didn't expect it. And so I was like, okay, this is, and we made it on every best list. We were on San Francisco's best list for our sandwich. We had Patricia Unterman, which is a very renowned food critic, came into our shop to check out our food. Like
Oh
we
boy.
were critically reviewed, right? And so then we made it on, fast casuals, 100 mover shaker. I didn't even know what that was. I had no idea what that was. I didn't, they called and emailed me and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I was new to the industry. I don't know how we got got noticed. We had one store and we would get people that would come in and give me business cards to say, if you're expanding, I want to invest. We had people doing R&D in our shop, just coming in R&Ding our shop.
Wow.
And we had, so it was just press and being on best lists and, you know, getting noticed on, fast casuals list, which is a national publication, national reach that I didn't know about. And
Mhm.
so I knew that. And folks would come in, I won't name them, but notable CEOs and founders of brands that we know would
Uh-huh.
come
Well,
into
you're in the Bay Area, so I'm sure we would know who they are.
right, right. And they came in, they're like, okay, you got to do something about this. You need to expand. You need to, let's partner, like private equity firms calling me. So it was the culmination, I guess. There was not one moment, but it was just a series of things that were happening that told me, hey, I'm onto something. I'm creating something special. It's resonating. And so this was, within a year and a half of our opening, all this just kind of was happening and it was all generic and I'm not generic, organic kind of exposure. We have not marketed. We've spent no money on marketing.
Wow. That's amazing. Denise, when did you open your second location?
So we opened our second location 2013 because we were getting so much catering from downtown San Francisco financial district. And Frank, I have a funny story. So I used to, because I love to do things cute and on brand. So I was delivering on in Mini Coopers. At first, I wanted to deliver on scooters, but liability and not, you can't carry boxes on scooters. But anyway, I was delivering in a red Mini Cooper for Bun Mee, and we were getting orders for like 1,000 people, or 500 people
Wow.
going to downtown San Francisco, and we were about 2 miles away, but
Mhm.
it's city miles, so it's really a lot of traffic. And one day we were, city streets are, San Francisco is very hilly. One day, and I was delivering at the time, I was delivery girl, so I was still working on. I was delivering, and one
This is
day
the
we
same person, by the way, who had an assistant getting her Starbucks coffee as an attorney, is now driving around in a Mini
Now I'm
Cooper.
driving a Mini Cooper, delivering your sandwiches, and we had a huge order, and we were stuffing our Mini Cooper with all these boxes and all that. And we were up on a hill in San Francisco, and the back of my hatchback opened up,
Mhm.
sandwiches rolled out, like it was just this mayhem. And food was coming out of my trunk, and I was like, oh my God, this is stressful. And so we're like, we need to open a store in financial district
Mhm.
to meet that demand. So that's how our second location opened up in 2014.
Okay.
And that's how we started in 2014. That was our second restaurant. A lot of office catering. We catered to hundreds of companies downtown, and we're able to cater up to 1,000 people, all sizes. We have delivery vans now. You know, we got it down now, and I have a delivery guy.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.